So welcome to the world of disinfectant madness. No matter where you go in the world today, somebody's either spraying Lysol in your face or telling you to slather up with alcohol-based hand sanitizers for your protection, right? And why is this madness? Well, first of all, we have to look at the environmental impact of the use of so many sanitizers. I mean, there have been a number of researchers and scientists that are shouting the alarm because many of these chemicals used in disinfectants that are being sprayed everywhere, they have consequences on our environment. Just like the chemicals in the what we call forever chemicals, the things that the masks are sprayed with and coated with, just like those have long-term environmental consequences. So I think part of the message is don't allow your fear to overcome your reason and your sense, which is what most people have done. As a matter of fact, I'll share a story with you. I was in the gym a couple of days ago, and there's a woman on the pull-up machine, and she's spraying the machine and the air around the machine with her personal disinfectant spray. In essence, she's poisoning everybody around her so that she can feel safer that the machine is properly disinfected. And I would say, look, if you have that kind of a mental attitude where you have that much fear about germs in the environment making you sick, you are the one that needs to self-quarantine, go home, maybe buy a pull-up bar, put it in your garage, and work out at home where you don't have to expose yourself to all the other nasty humans that are carrying germs. I think more importantly, it's very critical to understand that most of what people think about the germ theory of disease is completely wrong. As a matter of fact, most scientists agree now that it's not the amount of germs that you're exposed to so much as it is the terrain of your body. How healthy are you? Remember, God gave you an immune system that protects you amazingly well without hand sanitizers and without massive use of disinfectant aerosol sprays. Now, that being said, let's talk a little bit about hand sanitizers. These are something that are being used en masse. You go to the grocery store, they're there. You go into your kids' school, they're there. You walk into a shopping mall, they're there. Everywhere you turn, there's a Purell canister or some other type of disinfectant that's being supplied. Now, these things also don't come without consequence, especially if you use them aggressively. That's one thing, maybe you use it once in a while, but most people are smathering up vast dozens of times a day over the fear of getting germs or being exposed to, the disease that shall not be named. But if we look at this, let's check this out. So put this study up on the board. You can see here that recommended alcohol-based hand sanitizers for frequent hand hygiene, which are mainly made up from ethanol, isopropyl alcohols, hydrogen peroxides in different combinations. These preparations may become toxic to human health and environment when misused. So again, toxic to both health and your health and to the environment. These chemicals have known toxic and hazardous impact on environment when released by evaporation. In early 5 months of 2020, American Association of Poison Control Center reported 9,504 alcoholic hand sanitizer exposure cases in children under the age of 12 and recognized that even a small amount of alcohol can cause alcohol poisoning in children that is responsible for confusion, vomiting, drowsiness, and in severe cases, respiratory arrest and death. So again, hand sanitization by death in children, not a good thing. Furthermore, frequent usage of said hand sanitizers have reported increased chance of antimicrobial resistance. In other words, they make the microbes more resistant, and chance of other viral disease. Again, we're talking about aggressive use here. Now, let's look at this next slide. So triclosan. So this is a common ingredient found in hand sanitizers and other sprays. And so you can see here triclosan increase the severity of colitis symptoms. This is important for those of you that suffer with GI inflammation. So many of you are gluten sensitive and you're already struggling to recover years of gluten-induced intestinal and colon damage. And you see here that this particular additive, triclosan, increases colitis symptoms and spurred colitis-associated colon cancer cell growth. Not something you want to be applying, a couple of dozen times a day over fear of a microbe. Now let's go to this next one. You can see this study published in Current Research in Toxicology. It says here, alcohol-based hand sanitizers lead to dry skin, infection, and alcohol poisoning. Children are considered more prone to alcohol poisoning and other major health concern. Precautionary measures should be ensured to protect the community from the possible risk associated with disinfectants. Now check this image out. So this was from the same study. You can see Again, just a visual on hand sanitizers drying out the skin, increasing the risk for picking up different types of skin infections, but also the alcohol poisoning effect. And again, children are the most susceptible. And where do we see the hand sanitizers being used the most aggressively? In our schools. So parents, protect your kids from this aggressive fear porn of disinfection. And then let's look at this other. So these are some of the damages that can be caused by ethanol. If you look here, so skin damage, dermatitis, which is inflammation, allergies, dryness, cracks, redness, itching. In the eyes can cause irritation and allergies. In the lungs can cause respiratory depression, hypothermia, arrhythmia, and possibly cardiac arrest. Low blood sugar, ketoacidosis, hypotension. In the liver, we can see multiple forms of damage in the way of myoglobin, low potassium, low magnesium, low calcium, low phosphate, and hydrodiuresis are all possible symptoms of ethanol use. And then the other common ingredient in most of these hand sanitizers is isopropanol. And you can see here in the skin, irritation, rashes, itching, redness, dryness. In the central nervous system, it can cause depression. In the GI tract, it can cause irritation of the mucosal lining, gastritis, and ketosis. In the respiratory tract, it can cause depression. In the heart, it can increase serum creatinine levels, myocardial depression, low blood pressure, and low blood sugar. And in the kidneys, it can cause rhabdomyolysis, myoglobinuria, and acute renal failure. So these, again, you have to ask yourself, I know everybody's smathering themselves up in these lotions, but ask yourself, is this something you want your kids to have to apply a dozen times a day with these different types of risks, all over the fear that their own immune systems will somehow fail them and that they'll somehow spread a concoction of this virus or of any other virus for that matter. Now something else to chew on is right now, as you're watching this video, in front of your face, swirling around your head, you have 10 to the 15 viruses moving around you, and it's amazing that you could be surrounded by so many microbes and still be alive, isn't it? Yeah, think about it. Your immune system is what protects you. The alcohol rubs, the disinfectant rubs, the antibiotic rubs, all that stuff is just window dressing, and you got to come around at some point in your future to quit being scared. Now, I'm not saying don't wash your hands if you're in an airport or if you go to a daycare or something like that. I'm not saying not to have good hygiene practices. I certainly believe those are important, but I think we can take it too far, and I think it has been taken too far. So take a step back, take a deep breath in, and think about what you're putting on your body and what you're spraying around your body that you're breathing in it. And I would say reevaluate what you're doing.